was trained by the government, never compensated. Victim. As a lot of us have been in this system that has dominated the planet for thousands of years, which is classified as male-dominated hierarchy. Doesn't necessarily have to be male bodies. All my psychic skills have been trained, honed, and I'm aligned with my mission, which is to bring extra information to the table at this particular time in written human history. It looks like the Mayans were right again. What am I referring to? The Mayans said that at the end of end times, now, that the problem was going to be that people's sub-personalities were going to be revealed and that the people wouldn't be able to deal with it. Their shame, their guilt, fear, and that is what is going to take down society. And that is exactly what's happening with the Epstein files release. We don't know everybody on the list. We don't need to know everybody on the list. But the bottom line is, whatever it is, it's so bad. Exposing the darkness. We don't know how to handle people's darkness. Kill them. Death penalty, put them in jail. We cannot put that number of people in jail. Too many people have been compromised. We haven't learned how to deal with darkness, and yet each and every one of us has darkness. And one of the major goals on the planet in terms of evolution, spirituality, is for you to integrate your dark and your light. Well, we're not handling the Epstein files issues well spiritually. Politically, obviously, there's some kickback to what has been declared, but that's a passing thing in my opinion. And I also think when I look at what's going on in people's reaction, honestly, sit down, widen your lens, and wait a couple of minutes. Wait a couple of weeks. Wait a month. Nothing's going to change. You don't have to go for people's jugulars just because you think they led you on. Allow things to play out gracefully, and people have too much fire. Therefore, they're not able to do that. So the Mayans were right. What's happening now is that the whole thing with the Epstein files may be what takes down the entire planet. It matches too well with the Tortuguero prophecy. Too well. We have not been taught that it's okay to do something that's not nice, that's bad, that's ugly. That we have to stop doing it, forgive ourselves, and then figure out, do we want to continue to do that? But let's go to the map because there is good news. Let me put it up on, here we go. So the horizontal lines correspond to the Schumann resonance, which I just found out from the dolphins. And we have always seen horizontal lines in Canada. And then once you got to the United States, they were blue or green, the same as in the Gulf of America. Well, Canada's Schumann frequency is like barbed wire, but it's not like trying to have somebody not come in. It's like it's almost ready to break. In the United States, we're no longer blue and green frequency. Schumann resonance, we're red, fire. And of course, you see how angry everybody is. So okay, let me continue. The Carolinas and the east coast of Florida is getting a healing. Now, water is healing. I know 100 and some people died, and I'm not the one that makes these decisions, but there was something of a purification having to do with that. What the explanation is, why it was needed, was it needed? I'm not getting into that. I sketched that green healing, and then I remembered that there had been a lot of water, beyond a lot of water, a nightmare of water. So In the center of the United States is a big eye. It's blue, which means wisdom and awake, third eye. This is good. But those red lines, and then we have the Galactic Federation Merkaba. So there's still the support from the galactic. But here's the problem. And I said it on Saturday, we since Saturday, we've been under off-planet attack with psychotronic weapons, which are the reason why the Schumann resonance frequency is getting, its quality is changing because there's too much fire. The psychotronic weapons are sending the element of fire. That's modern, postmodern type of war. So if in the United States, if those frequencies continue to be read, people will start acting out, killing, accusing, their mental process will deteriorate, and there could be a complete collapse of society or a burning up of society. Now, that corresponds with everything that's been said to what's going on at this point. So the trick here is not to say, what do we do about the ETs? The trick here is the ETs are sending that bad energy because they know what it does to our mind. A hot mind is mental illness. So we already know that we're not in a good place having to do with that. So cooling down the environment. And here we go. Nobody even knows what the four elements are. There are salt rooms, there's not enough of them. We have actually sensory therapy videos, which include the Schumann resonance. Plus, it includes water. Plus, it includes the sound that puts out fire. So, if people played that morning, noon, and night, where they're 10 hours long, and they played it in cities, this could be cooled down. If you visualize the country in an igloo with cascading water, it can be cooled down. How do we get people to do that? They don't even have the basics, and that's the problem. We have been very sophisticated on the physical dimension. We are totally unsophisticated, having to do with basic human needs, having to do with how life was structured on planet Earth. It's not even like a conceptual need. If you're structured a certain way, such as with the Higgs field, which is electric 110, you cannot heat it up too much. You end up getting static. So I don't want to give any more of a science lesson, which is really metaphysics, because I suspect for many of you it's very boring. Anyway, a lot of people are saying they think the bottom line having to do with the Epstein situation has to do with maybe people are getting blackmailed. Yes, yes. But because there's no process for having somebody come out of the darkness into the light when they really would have never wanted to have been in the darkness to start out with, that process, I mean, look at me. I was literally bred for a mind control program, US government. It was in Europe after the Second World War, but it was US government. Okay. When I finally, at age 50, started to talk and look for help, I was completely trashed. I was not trashed by the mental health community, the psychologists that I worked with. I was not trashed by them. I used to ask them how come they were believing these stories I was making up. And they would say, "This is not a story, it's a memory." And they said, "And you have body memories with it." And it all hung together, but it was so wild that I was struggling with it. So I got completely trashed from having a really solid reputation to being like a crazy person. Um, so I know what it's like to say, "Hey, I've been caught up in some darkness that I never volunteered for, that I've never gotten compensated for. I need help." And all I got was people looking at me like, she must be mentally ill because I know she's not a liar. And I don't believe the stories. Therefore, she's got to be mentally ill. I was looking at the Tate brothers and how they have been able to prove that um, the women that took them to court saying that they had assaulted them, that it was a setup, that they were paid by the intelligence community. Well, I recently found out that a whole batch of people in Coral Gables, Florida, where I lived, have been compensated in a very big way to trash my reputation, but for years. For whatever reason, I'm more valuable alive than dead, but I need to be reined in, held under control. So they put out this whole disinformation campaign, which I think even my family bought into, because the whole story is so crazy, but it's real. How do you tell a whole country what you did as a government? I don't know. I don't know that there's a graceful way, but certainly I'm going to have my group. We're going to work on reducing the fire of the alien attacks, which is not even what we're dealing with. It's the whole judgment issue. Supposedly, and I believe this is true because it was substantiated many times in the news many years ago, they found a Gospel of Judas. In the Gospel of Judas, Jesus Christ asked Judas to let the Romans know where he is. And Judas said, no, they're going to kill you. Jesus, yeah, I know that. Let him know. I'm not going to do it. And he finally broke his arm, and Judas said, okay, but they're going to kill you. And then he did. And they crucified Jesus Christ. Why would Jesus do that? Why would he do that? Because if he hadn't died with that heavy duty trauma, nobody would remember him. But my point is that Judas ended up looking like the bad guy when he wasn't the bad guy. And when there are no bad guys, there are people playing out their part in a script that's god awful. And I'm only saying this on the off chance that you can hear me, on the off chance that you can understand why all of the great religious leaders have always said, don't judge. And don't judge because you don't know the whole story. You don't know what that person, that Scorpio, is accomplishing, because the Scorpios are really something. Oh my God. Oh, he's a Scorpio, of course. Scorpios come in here to help with karma for people, other people. So if there's something you shouldn't have learned and you haven't, you continue on your merry way, a Scorpio will come and slam you in the face, break your back, shoot you, whatever. And you go, oh my God, what did he do to me? And then you have to ask, why did I need this problem? Okay, the Scorpio did this. Why did I need this problem? Well, this is always happening to me. This time it was a Scorpio. Yeah, you got your answer. You needed the Scorpio to do that because it's been done to you before and you weren't paying attention. You just got up and went, oh my God, look what happened, and continued. So what's happening today? The whole thing with the Epstein thing is all about sex, guys. Oh, yeah, but we don't have time for that now. Yeah? Okay. How about population collapse, which is all about sex? Yeah, but that you deal with that separately. It's a string that is running through all of this. And you're not getting it yet. So you need to widen your lens and step back and allow certain things to play out and make sure that you've taken care of your dark side. Most of you, if not all of you, should have within the last couple years remembered things that you did that when you think about them, all you want to do is die. Oh my God, I didn't remember that. How could I have done that? Oh my God. And then most people swallow it and pray, please, that nobody remember this, that nobody saw it, that it never come up. On the contrary, you have to go get a mantra and grab it, thrash it around with the mantra, and then it's gone. Let's say you used to steal from your mother's purse, and not just when you were 3 and 5 and 7 years old, older than that. And you don't really think about it. And then one day you realize, oh my God, and then you stole a little bit at work, when you were a teenager, and then you wouldn't want anybody to know that. Well, when you put it away, that's when it becomes a part of your dark side, and then it ferments, it gets bigger, whatever. But basically, if you have something about yourself you don't like, you do a purification mantra. So if you stole too many times, just even though I'm a thief, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm a thief, I love and accept myself. And then you can add the words, even though I'm ashamed I'm a thief, I love and accept myself. Or even though I'm scared they're going to find out I'm a thief. This is the good news. When you do that enough, and you don't have to do it very much because the frequencies are so heavy duty that they really are pushing people getting sick real quick, but also healing real quick. When you basically have cleared how you feel about the fact that you are a thief, you don't need that problem anymore. What does that mean? That if you stole something last month and it looks like they're finding out about it, but you did this mantra, the whole thing will dissipate. Oh no, no, I thought I saw something, but no, don't worry about it. It's a fine. You don't need for it to happen. It doesn't, people don't need to find out. There's no purpose anymore. Because the reason you had the problem was to put it in your face, not everybody else's. But because we're not looking, sometimes it has to be in everybody else's face for us to go, oh, what is this? Which the whole thing with sex and the way it's viewed has to be put in everybody's face. The trans thing, the gender therapies, the population collapse. A lot of the reason why the immigrants were brought in had to do with them producing babies. There we go with the sex again. Why are the Americans not having babies? Which means they're not having sex. So I would suggest that you purchase my book, which called the name is Sex. We have to figure this out. It's on Amazon. I'm not going to give you the link. You're not going to buy it. It's okay. I'm used to that. When you bring forward information that doesn't sit comfortably, people would prefer not to have to deal with it, but there are no more laters. There are no more laters. So, um, so we're under attack by aliens. They're attacking us with psychotronic weapons. They're changing the quality of the Schumann resonance from the blue and green it was to red, which is fire. Um, Modern wars, did we think that they were going to bomb the planet? No. They're already here in the other dimensions, outside of our bodies and also inside of our bodies, because we have portals and they're able to come in. Their bodies don't look like our bodies. Some of the bodies look like snakes, like big parasites that are big snakes. And then there are many different shapes, there's many different intentions, and we get back to the whole issue of that if you're balanced in the elements, society, the United States, the fire can be reduced and this can go back to normal because we still have the protection, but we're on our way down because our frequency is not good. So get that frequency back up again by adding earth and fire. I know it gets boring for you. I know that you want gossip. I guess we could go down gossiping, but that's really not where I'm at. Back to the alien attacks, which is evil. And I do agree with whoever said on X today that people just cannot wrap their head around the level of evil. They can't with this whole sex trafficking Epstein thing. They can't. I mean, I have stories I will never be able to tell anybody. Didn't even bother in therapy, neither did the other girls there. Because it's just so I don't remember where I was going with that. I guess I would like to give you something that is going to help. The only piece of information maybe I can give you is that the person that has, from what it is that I understand, and I was not looking for the information, believe me, I'm disconnecting from that. The person that has all that blackmail is Schiff. Now, I could be wrong. Now, he's still fully operational. I mean, his potential may be nothing. He may end up in jail. He'll still be fully operational. So if that piece of information helps, that will be fine. So what should you do? What should you do? Remember that in the Bible, the Mayans and the Dolphins said that the ending is going to be some people being liberated, other people falling down in a black hole. What do? Go to the beach, go to the mountains, have dinner outside, have a hammock in your backyard, but not every once in a while. I mean, get out into the elements and fill up with what is going to keep you safe from a disease, from a personality disorder, or from alien attack, which is for all of your elements to be balanced. You can do it through videos, through images, because the intention, let's say, that's an image behind me. Let's say that I need more water element, which I do. The intention of water is in that photograph, and it will transfer to me. So it's easier than you think. As you can tell from my voice, I'm a little bit down, as we all are, as we're witnessing everything that is happening out there. Let's go ahead and do a mantra. Okay, let me show you something again. Everything is frequencies. I didn't really understand the concept of frequencies, or I probably could have gotten where I'm at a lot quicker. So I'm going to show you a study I did, and many of you have seen this already. This study took 7 minutes, and I was watching remote viewing long distance, a person in New York, and I was here in Miami. I remember it was a Sunday morning. And what I did was I sketched her mind streams. And as you can see there, she wasn't doing anything. She was just sitting there. Her mind streams are black and droopy. She was very depressed. And then I went ahead and asked her to do the depression mantra. Even though I'm depressed, I love and accept myself. That's all she did. She stayed where she was, same chair, and look how her mind streams, how they went from here to here. Just with that mantra, which you repeat in silence and you expel the breath through your mouth. The frequency changed because those are mind streams. Okay? They're the frequency of the sound of trilling. Okay, so then I asked her to change the mantra to the mantra for world peace. Okay, which is, please God, help me with my intention that there be a miraculous solution to the fear and hate. Look at the difference there with the change of mantra. Here she's only about herself, her depression. And here she goes for a bigger community. Look at those green things, which are chi. And then I said, let's go ahead and use the sensory therapy music that I produced that has trilling in it, plus the world peace mantra. And look at that. The ground, the green line around the canopy of mind streams is extra protection. Then I could see a bad spirit up there. Look at how the center is, their mind streams opening up. They're fresh, they're green. And look at all the earth energy that is coming up into her assemblage of bodies and aura. This is in 7 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that mantra, the world peace mantra. And I'm going to put the trilling on, which is the frequency of the birds chirping. Plus it has frequency for reducing fire, this particular video. Okay, I'm going to put the video on first, and then I will get the mantra on that you repeat it. Okay. So I want to remind you again that you only have a problem if you need it, whether it's at a society level or at a personal level. So if you've done some god awful things, do the mantra. Within 10 minutes, you will feel so much better. It doesn't matter what it is that you did. It was okay. It was part of a process. That's something that I really like about the Tantric Buddhism. They don't judge anything. And from what I have been able to determine, the Panchen Lama, which is the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, there's no issue of light and dark. It's not, it's the fact that somebody's full of darkness does not mean that they're not sacred. It's something we don't get. Jesus tried to teach us that, but we didn't get it. We did not get it. So we will see you again. We'll be back tomorrow. And thank you for joining me. Bye.